Hey, I'm back. Like, I thought that, like, like when I finished the last video, that was going to be it. But I wanted to actually talk about something that has been on my mind for the last few days. So, with that said, good morning. It is Thursday, July 14th, and I am Shadea, the lesbian believer. And one of the things that you guys probably don't know is that sometimes I allude to my family, but this is kind of crazy. But I actually witnessed this when I was, because let's see, I have a younger sister. She's younger half sister, but I consider her my full sister. She's 3 years younger than me, and she was a middle child. And I remember she went through this period, I think she was like I want to say about 13, so it would have made me about 16, where she went into this indoctrination period. And up until this point, we used to share a room together. So, you know how they always talk about, we think now we're dealing with the end of times, where we are all experiencing spiritual warfare. Those of us that don't move like the rest of the world. Those of us that are in the world but are not of the world. And when I was about 16, my little sister started writing 666 all over the bedroom walls and on her forehead. And she basically announced that she had sold her soul to the devil. And at the time, like, I've always been spiritual. Like, I've always was always in the spiritual realm. Like, I'm a seer. So I've always had like a very close connection with God, like the internal voice of God. Although I wasn't, I was never, like always in my Bible, but I resonated with a lot of the Bible stories. My stepdad used to read us Bible stories a lot, and I used to watch a lot of the biblical cartoons as a kid. So I already was like predestined to like be servant. Like, I work for God, and so like it was weird. Like, it was just like very bizarre, and like her eyes turned completely black. And like, I've seen when the mask has fallen off of psychopaths and narcissists. My mother was a narcissist. My father was a covert narcissist with my stepdad, but I consider him my father because he was there the day that I was born at the hospital. And so I got to see the insides of like how all of this stuff worked, but I never knew that that's what I was looking at, because it never dawned on me that what I was seeing was very demonic. And when I started getting into my adult life and all that, and I started getting into these like toxic relationships and things like that, I didn't know that people really are that evil, considering I actually looked at evil like my entire life. I was the oldest of three from my mom. Supposedly I have all these other brothers and sisters, but that's neither here nor there. And I, at the age of 6, my mom did not want my baby brother, and he ended up pretty much being like a psychopath. And out of institutions from the time he was like 11, juvenile, drug rehab, like prison. Same thing with my brother that's a year younger than me. So my sister sold her soul to the devil. And she would do like these rituals, and I don't even know how she knew how to do. I guess like how I knew how to like pray and be like in constant communication with God. I guess the devil knows their kind too. And she always hated me. There was always like just a very, like, she would watch me, like they watch. And so she would say some of the cruelest things and do some really dirty things. And I'm not saying that she hadn't been through like her fair share of like trauma, because we were all really traumatized. I came from a very traumatic background. So anyways, flash forward, my stepdad ended up developing stage 4 lung cancer. And my sister is married to this guy that is ex-military. So they came back from San Diego, and my dad was in hospice care, palliative care, or whatever. He was at home. So we had nurses around the clock 24 hours. So my sister had managed to get everybody out. This is when I met my malignant narcissist wife. And my dad was really sick. He was not even lucid at the time. So everybody had to get out of the house. And my sister was the only one that was there. So my dad, like when he could say things here and there, he'd be like, somebody's like stealing my medication. This is going on. I don't want your sister here. I don't trust her. And eventually she did something where she called me and she said, Dad's passed away, blah, blah, blah. So I get over to the house. He's not quite gone, but I basically get to see him take his last breath, And so then we waited for the coroner, and like I was like hysterical because I never really wanted to lose him. So anyways, something comes up a little while later, and there's supposed to be a will for my dad's like house and like his bank accounts and whatnot. My sister ended up taking everything. House, sold it for a little less than $1 million. Like all this stuff, like all this evil stuff was going on. And like my brother, who had gotten out of prison at the age of 29, he was in there from the time he was 14 for federal crimes, like just crazy. And so she kicked him out too. She starved my dad's dog to death, almost. And so the only humane thing that I could do was call animal control, because I wasn't in a place to take him. I was actually in a really bad place at that time. So anyways, she's been doing all these demonic things, and, she would like eventually go on to continue to do like all these things like with tax fraud and stuff like that. So my point is this, is that a lot of us who are light bearers, who are prophets, evangelists, like all these people that, we work for the army of God. We've been around the enemy's plans for some time. We didn't always know, because our hearts wouldn't let us see, because all we could see was the light in them, and all they could see was projecting their darkness onto us. They have a very interesting way of projecting and casting off their demons, or attempting to, onto others. When I was in that situation my entire life, my escape was school. I did well in school, but my self-esteem, my confidence was so broken down that I never really utilized anything that I had going on. And I listened to people tell me that, I was never going to be anything, that I was not worthy, that I didn't even deserve to live, including my own mother. And because when you're a child, you don't know, because you trust your parents to be honest with you. You don't know about like spiritual warfare, narcissism, and all these things. They get you early on. But as an adult, when you start to know better and you start to realize exactly what it was that you had been around all this time, you start to put the pieces together, and then you start to understand. But the other side of this is really crazy. So we go through all these trials and tribulations. So we're basically being trained. We're being tempered, like fine metal, like we're being tempered, and we're being like honed so that we can be, that person that shows up in the armor, so that we can better ward off the enemy's attacks and sidestep and know what's coming and accept the things, our shortcomings, because we all fall short of the glory. It is what it is. It's part of like being in the flesh, but we do not hold ourselves to the flesh. We do not go provoking demons to enter unless we, go through that very pivotal time where we get with a narcissist, and the narcissist takes us down this roller coaster ride, and then they try to suck the soul out of us, because it is a very soul-sucking experience. When you've been on that narcissistic roller coaster, and you look yourself in the mirror, and you're like, I don't even look like myself. Like, who am I? It's like everything's been physically sucked out. Now, I've been through spiritual warfare since I was this small. I've had some weird experiences in the spiritual realm. Nobody would believe me unless they understood spirituality. Like a lot of earthly people don't believe in. And so this narcissist thing, like I've known since I was a kid that we've been in the middle of a spiritual warfare that's been going on for thousands of years. And I remember in the 90s, just looking at the things that were starting to really start to snowball into the current times. And I wish I could really speak critically on the things that I'm noticing in the world, but my main goal is to get the message out and to hopefully, encourage people who are still on the fence about a lot of what they're seeing, hearing, feeling while they're here, to delve deeper and to open and expand their mind and their Christ consciousness. Because there's a lot of things that are going on right now that are right in front of us, and there are many things that were so stupid that we're going to subscribe to it. And the enemy comes in many forms, and the enemy always comes to kill, steal, and destroy. But the beauty about us, the army of Christ, God, the Holy Spirit, is that we are not a one-trick pony. We can rebuild ourselves and our constitution and our spirit, and we will go on to fight another day. We don't throw it all away and go and veer off into somebody else's quality of life. My sister is doing absolutely nothing with her experience except conning, stealing, killing, and destroying, and putting negative energy out there. It's gone into my nephews. Like, these types of people are very divisive. They destroy relationships. You always know you have one within the circle when there's always chaos and drama between the relationships and the dynamics in the group. They get off on causing chaos and discord. They are literal physical imps. And I don't subscribe to their channels, meaning, I'd rather be by myself and, have regular conversations with God and focus on just following the path so I can get, in my purpose. I talk to God regularly. I thank God every morning when I get up. I have conversations with God like God is my best friend. Well, God is my best friend. And all things are possible through God. No weapon forged against you shall prosper. It's true. It is very true. Meanwhile, they think they are ahead of the race. Don't do anything to them. Don't do anything. Now I regret having to tell that young man, but it blew up. He got physically in my face and wanted to beat me up. But it's look, I don't start work until 6 o'clock. You're not off until 6 o'clock. So I'm not accepting this badge, and you're not going to just drive off. And he lied, and he lied, and he lied, and he lied, and he lied about all kinds of things to the boss. And he threatened me with violence. I don't have time for that. God has been calling me to do something amazing. All things are possible through God. With man, there's a lot of limitations, man tells you that, you can't do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, but through God, there are no limitations. He's the creator, he's the Alpha, the Omega. And so I just wanted to share that with you guys. I actually saw a demonic indoctrination within my own family. I come from a very dark family, so that's another thing. People will look at you and they'll be like, why don't you have any familial ties? There's a reason. When your own family seeks to destroy you, there's no God in that. God would not want you to sit around like a sitting duck, to just be destroyed by the enemy. We have wisdom for a reason. Without knowledge, that's for sure some type of death. So I've learned a lot more. I learned I ain't gotta sit and know a bull crap. And I knew I am through Christ, with God. I just gotta find me a good church. I hope you guys are all well. And thank you for viewing my videos. Much appreciated. I'm going around and I'm looking at some of the other channels for some of the other believers, and you guys are doing a great job. I appreciate all you guys. You help me, and hopefully I can add to the collective energy of the believers, the Christ consciousness. So anyways, stay blessed, everyone. Well, you're always going to be blessed. You were for God.